こんばんは。フォレックス TV ニューヨークのレミです。2月28日木曜日の為替レポートニューヨークレビューをお伝えします。28日のアメリカ株式相場は続落しました。ダウ工業株30週平均は前日比112ドル10セント安の 12,582 ドル18セントで終えた。ナスダック総合株価指数は 22.21 ポイント安の 2331.57 で終えた。ニューヨーク外国為替市場で円相場は大幅に続伸しました。アメリカ経済指標が予想より弱い結果だったほか、バーナンキー FRB 議長が厳しい景気認識を示しました。円買いドル売りが優勢となりました。円は一時105円7銭と104円台をつけた1月23日以来の高値に上昇しました。ドル円は前日比1円10銭円高ドル安の105円30銭から40銭で取引を終えた。ユーロ円は前日比13銭円安ユーロ高の163円7銭から12銭で取引を終えた。ユーロも対ドルで続伸し、前日の 1.51 ドル台前半から 1.52 ドルに上昇して取引を終えた。一時ユーロドルは 1.5231 ドルまで上昇し、ユーロ導入以来の最高値を更新しました。それでは FX ソリューションズのチーフマーケットアナリストのジョセフ・チュレブサンリさんとのインタビューをご覧ください。
Well, in today's session, we saw the U.S. dollar index fall to a record low for the second session.
Yes, it did.
And we also got comments out from Bernanke as well as from President Bush this morning. And we got continued deterioration in economic data.
Correct.
So let's start out broad. Given dollar weakness across the board, what do traders need to keep in mind going forward?
Well, you know, there are a lot of old market sayings. This one is probably never buck the Fed. I don't think it means the way it's being interpreted right now on the market. Generally, don't buck the Fed means when the Fed changes interest policy, go with it. If they start tightening rates, watch out. If they start loosening rates, we'll end up with economic growth. That's the way it normally is. This time I would give a little paraphrase to it in that with Mr. Cohn, Donald Cohn, the vice chairman, and Ben Bernanke, the chairman, uttering their rather gloomy forecasts that is what the market is taking from this. You have some deterioration yet in the American statistics, and in fact they do point down, but not dramatically. But if you have Cohn saying that they're worried about credit, and Mr. Bernanke saying that a few banks could fail, I mean not a lot, but a few, and he says nothing in defense of the dollar. In fact, when questioned about the dollar, the only thing he says basically is, well, it's pretty good for the trade deficit and the economy. There is only one way to take this. So that's what traders have to watch out for. Mr. Bernanke's transparency is actually, in this case, I think, exacerbating dollar weakness rather than helping to curtail it.
Okay, Joseph, now that you've given us your take on recent fundamental data, let's shift our focus over to price action we've been seeing in euro dollar. In yesterday's session, the pair broke above 150 and today hit another record high right near the 152.30 level. So looking ahead to tomorrow's session here in the U.S., we do have key data coming out, including Chicago PMI, U of Mich consumer sentiment, as well as personal income and spending. So ahead of the weekend, looking at Friday's session, what do you expect to see in the pair?
Well, I expect we're going to see Friday, my old favorite from my trading days, New York Friday. You have the euro in basically uncharted territory. You have statistics coming out tomorrow that are really secondary statistics, and they're really not going to alter the view. I don't think we're going to get a tremendously good number in any of those particular statistics. So you're not going to change the overall view. But you do have the euro making a tremendous run up against the dollar in 3 days before a weekend. This would seem to me that there might be some profit taking tomorrow.
Okay, and looking at the U.S. equity market here, we saw all the major indexes tumble almost 1% on the day. And we saw the U.S. dollar fall to record low against the Swiss franc and weaken against the Japanese yen. And it isn't too long before the U.S. dollar might be considered a low-yielding currency. So for the dollar against the low yielders of the Swiss franc and yen, what's the story there and where do you see it going?
Well, those currencies are just part of the general dollar weakness that we're seeing right here. I mean, you're seeing, some interesting divergences between the way the currencies are trading. The Aussie dollar is at like a 25-year high, but that is an internal Aussie factor having to do with the RBA and inflation. You're seeing the Kiwi, the New Zealand dollar, coming off rather hard, also internally. You're seeing the euro skyrocketing and being trailed, not very effectively, by the pound. So you're getting real divergences here, which offer traders some tremendous opportunities because you are not in one trend, and you can find things that you can actually work with.
以上 FX ソリューションズのジョセフ・トゥレベサーニさんとのインタビューでした。 ForexTV ニューヨークのルミがお伝えしました。最新の為替情報については ForexTV ジャパンをご覧ください。